In this video, we're going to be solving applications of systems of equations in three variables. And so let's go ahead and get started. It says, write a system of equations for each problem, then use the system to solve the problem. So on number one, it says, at the 2014 Paralympic Games in Sochi, Russia, the top three countries, the Russian Federation, Ukraine, and the United States, won a total of 123 medals. Ukraine won 7 more medals than the United States. The Russian Federation won 37 more medals than the total amount won by Ukraine and the United States. How many medals did each of the top three countries win? So let's see, we have Russia. We'll just call it medal count, and we'll say that's x, because we got three variables here. Let's let y equal the Ukraine medal count, and z will be the US medal count. And so if there are a total of 123 medals won by these three countries, then we have x plus y plus z equals 123. X is the number won by the Russians, y is the number won by the Ukrainians, and z is the number won by the US, and that total is 123. So there's your first equation. Then it says Ukraine won 7 more medals than the United States. So the number that the Ukraine won, which was y, is 7 more than the United States. Well, the United States won z. 7 more than that, we would have to add 7. And so this is 7 more than the amount won by the US, and that's how many the Ukraine won. 7 more than the US did. All right, and then the Russian Federation, which was, let's see, they won X medals, and it says they won 37 more than the total won by the Ukraine and the US. So the total won by the Ukraine and the US, we just add those up. So that would be y plus z. And it's 37 more than that, so we have to add 37. So it's 37 more than the total won by the Ukraine and the United States. Now we're going to want to rewrite this, and I probably should have used my space a little bit better here. We've got x plus y plus z is 123. I'm going to move z over here. We're going to have y minus z equals 7. And then finally, we'll subtract y and z from both sides. We're going to get x minus y minus z equals 37. And we'll call this equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3. Now, I'm looking at these and I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and eliminate, really I could do y or z. Let's see what I did before. All right, so we have an equation here in y and z. So let's go ahead and write equation 2. Y minus z is equal to 7. That's equation 2. So since we already have an equation in two variables, remember what our goal is here. We need two equations in the same two variables. So I already have one equation in two variables. And now I'm going to use equations 1 and 3, and I want to eliminate x. so that I'll get another equation in y and z. So I'm going to go ahead and write minus equation 1 right here. So it'll be minus x minus y minus z equals minus 123. And so if we add these together, we get minus 2y minus 2z is equal to, and let's see, thought I did this. Hold on, you know what, I didn't even bring my calculator here. Let's see, 123 minus 37, and we're going to get 86. And let me see if, and that would be negative since the bigger number was negative. Alright, so that's, let's go ahead and rewrite that. We'll call that equation 4. We'll write that right here. So that's equation 4. And I'm thinking I want to make, I'm going to multiply equation 2 by 2 so I can get opposites for my y. I need to solve this system here now that we have two equations in the same two variables. So it'll be 2 times equation 2, so we'll have 2y minus 2z equals 14, and then let's just rewrite the second, or equation 4, the other equation here. And so now when we add these together, the y's cancel. We get negative 4z is equal to, let's see, that's 72, and it needs to be negative. And if we divide by negative 4, we're going to get z is 18. Now remember, y minus z is 7. That was equation 2 up here. So y minus 18 equals 7. We'll add 18 to both sides, and we get 25. Alright, so now we just need to go back and find x. And we know x plus y plus z is 123. And, let's see, we've got x plus 25 plus 18 equals 123. So this will be x plus, and that'll be 45, 43 equals 123. We'll subtract 43 on both sides, and I think that gives us x is 80. And so finally our medal count is 80 for the Russians. And let's see, y, that was 25 for the Ukrainians. And z was 18, that was the US count. The only other thing I would point out is, so this is our final answer. I probably should write it like this here. So this is Russia, Ukraine, and the US. And you could certainly check this pretty easily. These three add up to 123, and you should be able to show that y is equal to z plus 7 and x is equal to y plus z plus 37. So you could double check those and verify that your answer is correct. All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 2. All right, it says the total number of restaurant purchase meals that the average person will eat in a restaurant, in a car, or at home in a year is 170. So you go to the restaurant, you purchase a meal, you could eat it in 3 places, in the restaurant, in a car, or at home. The total number of these meals eaten in a car or at home exceeds the number eaten in a restaurant by 14. 20 more restaurant purchase meals will be eaten in a restaurant than at home. Find the number of restaurant purchase meals eaten in a restaurant, the number eaten in a car, and the number eaten at home. So we'll just say X is the number eaten in restaurant, and we'll say Y is the number eaten in a car, and Z is the number eaten at home. So the total number of meals was 170. So our first equation is X plus Y plus Z is 170. Then it says the total, the total number of these meals eaten in a car at home exceeds the number eaten in a restaurant by 14. All right, so the total number of these meals eaten in a car or at home, well, let's see, in a car or at home, that's Y plus Z. If we total that up, the total eaten in a car or at home exceeds or is greater than the number eaten in a restaurant by 14. So the number eaten in a restaurant is X, and it exceeds this number by 14, so it's 14 more than that. And so the total eaten in a car or at home is 14 more than the number eaten in a restaurant. And so when we say exceeds, that acts like more than. All right, and then finally we have 20 more restaurant purchase meals will be eaten in a restaurant than at home. So 20 more eaten in a restaurant than at home. All right, so the number that's eaten in a restaurant is X. Actually, I think the way I want to approach this, the easiest way I think to make sense out of this is 20 more were eaten in a restaurant. So the bigger number is the number eaten in a restaurant compared to what's at home. So if you take the number eaten in a restaurant and you subtract the number eaten at home, which is Z, that should equal 20, because this value is 20 more than this one. So if you subtract the two numbers, you get 20. So you may have reasoned it a little bit differently, but in the end, this is the system we get, which can also be written as X plus Y plus Z is 170. And let's bring this X over. It'll be minus X plus Y plus Z is 14. So you can think of it as we subtracted X on both sides. And then here we want X and Z to be in the right columns. All right. So again, we can do like we did last time. We have three equations and three variables, and we want to somehow come up with two equations in the same two variables. Well, we have an equation in X and Z. X minus Z is 20. And so we're going to use equation 3. And we can now use equations 1 and 3 to get, how about equations 1 and 2 to get another equation in X and Z. We need to eliminate Y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, if I want to eliminate Y here, I need a minus Y here. So I'm just going to go ahead and multiply equation 1 by a negative 1, or just minus equation 1. So all the signs change. Minus X minus Y minus Z is negative 170. So all of our signs change. And then we have equation 2, minus X plus Y plus Z equals 14. So that's equation 2. Now, when we combine these or add these together, we get negative 2x. Notice not only do our z's, or let's say we needed our y's to cancel, but our z's also cancel. And let's see, that's negative 156. We'll divide each side by negative 2, and we're going to get x is equal to 78. So x equals 78. So I just went ahead and, let me just move this down so you can see what I did here. So when I added the equations together, I got minus 2x is negative 156. We might as well solve this. We get x is 78. And so that's our second equation. And we'll call this equation 4. So we were expecting to get another equation in x and z, but we actually have an equation in x, which is even better because we can solve this system now quite easily. We already know x is 78, and we can plug 78 in here into the other equation, equation 3 here, and 78 minus 58 would be 20. So we get negative z equals negative 58, so z is 58. And so notice we've gotten everything except for y. So we can go back to one of the original equations. I'm just going to use the first. We have x plus y plus z is 170. And let's see, x is 78. We don't know y, and z is 58. And so if we add 78 and 58, we'll get 136. Subtract 136 from both sides. And we get y is equal to 34. So the restaurant, that's 78, 34 in the car, and 58 eaten at home. Again, if you go back and check these in your equations, you can verify that your answer is correct. They should add up to 170, and they should also, well, you can use these or the ones that we did here when we rearranged them, but you can verify that they do work. Now I do want to mention that on the test, or when you take your final, with word problems, the most important part is to be able to come up with the equations. And so that's the priority here. We've already discussed how to solve systems. With word problems, I'm going to show you how you can use your calculator to solve systems, and I'm going to allow you to use your calculator whenever you do a word problem. So in other words, your focus will be on coming up with the equations, not as much as in terms of solving them by hand. Alright, so I'm going to stop this video here and I'll do the last problem. I would encourage you to try the last problem and see if you can come up with the equations, and then you can watch the video and see how you did.